is not caused by doing too much. It's caused by living too long disconnected from yourself while doing too much. And I think this is especially true for high performing women because so many intelligent, capable, ambitious women have normalized chronic stress, emotional suppression, overfunctioning, and nervous system dysregulation. And we call it success. But if you don't change this pattern, eventually your body will force the pause your mind keeps trying to outrun. And burnout doesn't just affect your energy, it impacts your hormones, your nervous system, your relationships, your creativity, your emotional resilience, and even your sense of identity. Because when your worth becomes tied to productivity, rest starts to feel unsafe. I worked with a woman who, from the outside, looked incredibly successful. Executive role, respected leader, always achieving, always giving, always handling it. But behind closed doors, she was exhausted. Not the kind of tired sleep fixes, the kind where your body feels heavy, your mind will not shut off. You feel emotionally numb. Small things overwhelm you, and even resting doesn't feel restorative anymore. And the interesting thing was, she didn't even think she was burnt out. She thought she just needed a better routine, more discipline, another coffee, perhaps even a vacation, or to push through this season. And this is where so many high performing women get trapped because burnout doesn't always look like falling apart, does it? Sometimes it looks like functioning at a high level while quietly deteriorating internally. You're still producing, still showing up, still performing, but your nervous system is running on survival mode. And many women have become so conditioned to overgiving, overcaring, overachieving, overproving that stress feels normal. Sometimes women tell me, but Rita, I'm used to being busy. And I always say being accustomed to stress does not mean your body isn't paying a price for it. Your body keeps the score, even when your mind keeps pushing. And one of the biggest issues I see is that many high performing women don't realize they've built their identity around being needed. So slowing down feels uncomfortable. It feels unproductive. Receiving support feels uncomfortable. Resting feels uncomfortable. And this is why burnout recovery is not just physical, it's emotional, psychological, physiological, and deeply tied to self-worth. So look, let's stop treating rest like a reward. This is one of the biggest mindset shifts I invite you to consider. Rest is not something you earn after exhaustion. Rest is a biological necessity. But many women unconsciously operate from the belief I can rest when everything is done. Problem? Everything is never done, right? There's always something to do. There will always be another email, another responsibility, another person needing something from you, another task to complete. And if your nervous system only feels safe when you're producing, you will struggle to truly rest, even on vacation, even when you get home, even lying in bed. Because burnout is not always about workload, is it? Sometimes it's about the inability to downshift. This is why intentional pauses matter so much. Micro recovery throughout the day matters. Even 60 seconds of conscious breathing between meetings, between those emails, between those difficult conversations can help regulate stress chemistry in the body. Because recovery is not only something that happens after burnout, it's what helps prevent it. There is something I wish more ambitious women understood. You can be highly capable and still deeply dysregulated. In fact, many women perform exceptionally well while their nervous system is in chronic fight or flight. That's why so many women can't stop thinking, feel guilty resting, struggle to sleep, constantly anticipate problems, or feel emotionally reactive despite having it all together. Their body has adapted to stress as a baseline state, and eventually the body starts communicating through symptoms: fatigue, anxiety, hormonal imbalances, brain fog, emotional exhaustion, digestive issues, tension, and even insomnia. Do any of these sound familiar to you? Well, maybe the root cause of these could be your inability to rest and recover. This is where breathwork becomes incredibly powerful because functional breathing helps shift the nervous system out of survival and into regulation. Your breath affects your heart rate, stress hormones, emotional state, your focus, and ultimately your recovery. And many high performing women are unknowingly over breathing all day long, shallow breathing, chest breathing, holding their breaths while working. You know that there's this phenomena called email apnea where you're holding your breath as you're scrolling through your emails and waiting for that one email to come in, or as you're reading an important email, you tend to hold your breath. Sometimes I'm still guilty of this. All of these reinforce stress patterns in the body. They are activating that sympathetic nervous system, really ringing an alarm in your body and your mind. And then naturally, a cascade of hormones will happen because your body signals danger. Think of these alarms going off, these sirens going off in your head. So your body will prepare to protect. That's why something as simple as inhaling through the nose for 4 counts, exhaling slowly for 6, preferably through the nose, can begin signaling safety back to the nervous system. Sometimes healing begins with teaching the body you no longer have to stay in emergency mode. And this one goes deep because many women were praised for being strong, being responsible, being dependable, being achieved, and over time, their identity became connected to performance. So when they slow down, they feel uncomfortable. Does this sound familiar? I know I was there at one point. Not because they're feeling uncomfortable because they feel lazy or they think they're lazy, but because stillness forces them to meet themselves outside of achievement. Let me repeat that. Stillness, rest, recovery forces them to meet themselves outside of achievement. And this is where burnout often becomes a wake-up call because burnout asks, who are you when you're not producing? Can you still feel worthy without overgiving? Can you still feel worthy without overachieving? Can you receive support without feeling guilty? Can you allow softness without seeing it as a weakness? Because true well-being is not just about being successful externally. It's about feeling safe, feeling connected, feeling peaceful and alive, feeling your authentic self internally too. I think one of the greatest tragedies that so many incredible women are admired for is how much they carry while silently drowning underneath the weight of it all. You don't have to carry it all. You don't have to silently be drowning underneath because you're carrying all that weight. And I truly don't believe burnout is a sign of weakness. I think deep down inside that burnout is often the body's attempt to say, hey, this way of living is no longer sustainable. Your body is not betraying you. It's communicating with you through signs and symptoms that something is off, that something is no longer achievable or sustainable. And maybe the goal isn't to become less ambitious, right? Because this is who we are. This is what's been driving our life all these years. And we, quite frankly, we love it, don't we? Maybe the goal is to learn how to succeed without abandoning yourself in the process, to lead from regulation instead of survival, to honor your energy instead of constantly overriding it, to create success that your nervous system can actually sustain, because real success should not cost you your peace, should not cost you your health. And sometimes the most productive thing a high performing woman can do is pause, breathe, and finally listen to yourself. If this resonates with you deeply, this is exactly why I'm so passionate about breathwork and nervous system regulation for high performing women and conscious leaders. Because burnout recovery is not just about taking time off, it's about learning how to come back home to yourself one conscious breath at a time.